Hi everyone, nice to see you again. Today I want to tell a story about an 8-month-old dog that I rescued in the Gambia. You know, usually when I turn on this camera, I am here to show you a procedure. We often focus on the medical side of things, the diagnosis, the treatment, the removal. But today, I want to do something a little different. I want to slow down. I want to take a few minutes to talk not just about a dog's body, but about his soul. I want to share a story about how resilience looks, and how even in the darkest condition, a little heart can still beat with hope. This story takes place under the hot sun of the Gambia. If you have been there, you know the heat. You know the dust. It is a beautiful place, but for a stray animal, it can be an incredibly unforgiving landscape. I found him wandering alone. He was only 8 months old. Think about that for a second. 8 months, he is technically still a baby. At this age, a dog should be discovering the world. He should be chasing butterflies, chewing on sticks, running until his legs are tired, and then collapsing into a happy sleep. He should be full of mischief and life. But when I found this boy, he was none of those things. He was silent. He was standing there in the dust, carrying a heavy burden that no living creature should ever have to bear. He was suffering from a severe infestation of mango. For those of you who watch my channel, you know exactly what that means. But for this little dog, he didn't know the medical name. He only knew the pain. He only knew that under his skin, there was pressure. There were parasites stealing his energy, robbing him of his nutrients, and making every single movement a struggle. It was his eyes. He looked at me with this profound, deep sadness. It was a look of exhaustion. It was almost as if he was asking me, "Is this all there is? Is this what life is supposed to be?" In that moment, the world seemed to stop. It was just me and him. I walked up to him slowly. Usually, street dogs are afraid. They run, or they growl, because they have learned that humans can be dangerous. But he didn't run. He didn't growl. He just stood there. And then, he did something that made my heart melt. He leaned into my hand. It was the first spark of trust. Despite the pain, despite the fear, he chose to trust me. I knew right then, in that second, that our destinies were linked. I wasn't leaving without him. We brought him to the clinic to begin the work. Now, I won't lie to you, the process of removing mango worms is intense. It is uncomfortable. Imagine having hundreds of tight knots under your skin that need to be released. But I want to talk about his bravery. We placed him on the table. The room was quiet. As I began to work, as I began to squeeze out the parasites that were hurting him, I kept whispering to him. I told him he was a good boy. I told him that this pain was different. This was the pain of healing, not the pain of suffering. There is a strange, beautiful intimacy in moments like this. When you are helping an animal that is so vulnerable, a bond forms that is hard to describe. He seemed to understand that I was helping. He stayed still. He let me do the work. It was as if he surrendered his pain to my hands, trusting that I would take it away. We washed his wounds, we cleaned his fur, and for the first time in a long time, he was free. The days that followed were where the real romance of this story lies. You see, the rescue doesn't end on the medical table. The rescue happens when the spirit returns. Over the next few days, I watched a transformation that was nothing short of magic. You know the saying, "The eyes are the window to the soul." Well, the sadness in his eyes began to fade, day by day, replaced by a light I hadn't seen before. Once the pressure of the worms was gone, his personality exploded. He suddenly remembered that he was only 8 months old. He remembered how to play. He discovered that food was plentiful and that hands were meant for petting, not for hurting. Watching him sleep peacefully was the greatest reward. To see him lying there, chest rising and falling, without itching, without pain, completely at peace. That is the most romantic thing in the world to me. It is the pure beauty of a life saved. He transformed from a ghost of a dog into a happy, loving puppy who just wanted to be loved in return. This rescue in the Gambia reminded me why we do this work. It is easy to get tired. It is easy to get sad when we see so much suffering. But then you meet a dog like this. You meet an 8-month-old puppy who refuses to give up, and he teaches you something. He taught me that no matter how bad things get, if you have a little bit of help and a whole lot of love, you can come back. You can shine again. The scars on his skin will heal, but the love he showed us will last forever. So, to this little brave boy, thank you for trusting me. And to all of you watching, thank you for being part of this journey. Every time you watch, every time you care, you help us write another happy ending for a soul that deserves it. Thank you for listening to his story. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.